Thanks for joining me today. In this picture, this guy wants to get rid of this girl on the background, and this is what we're going to achieve today using Photoshop. So in the end, we'll get this and this. So let's get rid of this. The first thing is to duplicate this and close this. Then there are many ways we can achieve this. We can choose to use this mark tool or quick selection tool to select this girl, for example, and hit shift backspace. But see what happens when we set this to content away and this normal and hit OK. So there is a problem here because this picture, first of all, is not very clear and the background is somehow a little bit complicated. So we'll go back. Other way we can do this is to first of all select this guy, right? So we grab the pen tool and make sure it's set to path, and then quickly select this guy here. Alright, so this place doesn't matter. So what we can do is to instead select this girl so that we know that this is the background we're working on. Alright, now the most important thing here is to right click to save. First of all, make a selection and then hit OK, and also go to select, come down to save selection and save this to lady, right? So that whenever we want to get back to this selection, it will be easier for us. So one thing we can do is to copy out this section and use it to fill this section, or we can use the clone stamp tool to sample this any of these places and use it to cover this, but it may not give us the exact stuff we want, even though it works perfectly. Alright, so the easiest way is to select, for example, let's grab this pen tool and while on this, we select this part of the background that is also related to this part. So for example, let's say we have this selected and we make a selection and hit OK. Then use Ctrl J to copy this selection, so now we can move this particular selection. So we'll move it right to this end and Ctrl T to flip this horizontally and then place it here. So let's assume we've got this. So we'll resize a little bit. Okay, now let's assume we've got this here. But the problem is that we're having some edges here, and if we reduce this a little bit, we see what we have. So let's say the head of the girl starts from here and the body starts from somewhere here. That is the hand. Okay, so now we can use this to work, right? Now we switch this back to 100% and zoom a little bit, and then grab the eraser tool and make sure that this soft round brush is selected. Reduce this opacity to about 20, 30, and then we carefully brush the edges so that it syncs with the background, right? So now this is what we have. Okay, so we get this, and then this place doesn't really matter because we still work on it. Same with this, so we can just leave this here for now. Copy this to this end, holding our shift to get this. Copy again to fill out this space that is here. But now it is covering this guy. So what we can do, and that is why we saved that selection. So we can go to this tool here or go back to select to load the selection, and then we can click here and click on lady and hit OK and get our selection back. Right, now that this lady is selected, we can carefully right click and select inverse while on this tool, and then grab the eraser tool, take it all the way to 100 and brush this part so that it doesn't cover the guy. Right, great. Now we can select this again. To work on this part, we'll have to come back here to select this section, right? So now that this section is selected, we make sure that this layer is selected. We hit Ctrl J to copy this layer, and then we can move this to this right. we have to take this up. It's important to name these so that it doesn't confuse you. So let's say we're naming them 1, 2 and 3. So then we have this 3 here. All right, now so this is covering this already, so well, we have to work on it a little bit. For example, these edges, and for us to do that, you have to grab this eraser tool, but take this opacity down to about 30 or 20, so that will brush these edges, right? Until it syncs with the background next to it. All right, now so we can hit V and copy this exact selection to this end, and also do that to this end to match this. Great. Now we have to work on them, right? So click on this, grab the eraser tool, and also do the same thing here so that it syncs with the background. Forget about this. This is the giant's leg, and we have to work on it later separately, right? So so we can do something here and something here, and yeah, so okay, so do something here, right? We can now grab this other section and go back there and brush this a little bit so that this line is not visible, right? And then one good thing we can do is just to get rid of this cover here. For us to do that, we have to go back to the selection and load selection to lady, and then hit OK. Then while this layer is selected, we can select the inverse so it can select this other part of the picture, and then we grab the eraser tool, or we can easily hit delete to delete that, but it may make the edges to be sharp. So now that we have this, return this to this, we can use the block bracket to increase the size of these eraser tool, and then we have this same thing, we grab this and also delete this part of it, right? So now we can check this and hit Ctrl H to get rid of this. So now check them one after the other to see where we need to work on a little bit. So this is 100%. You can reduce it to 12% to trim this end so that it doesn't look as if we edited it, right? So now turn this off and on to check this out and see. So now when we group all of this and hide this, you can see the difference that is clear. So thank you for joining me today, and make sure you subscribe to this channel and like this video. My name is Matt from ultimate freelancing.com, and until next, keep earning more income. Thank you.